Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
Yeah. If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Yeah. Does that? It's like the sound of somebody taking like a steak.
It seems really wet.
It's like if you took a ribeye steak and you just dunked it in water and just slapped it on the table and drug it around.
Way too much moist saliva.
Yeah. If you guys are listening, Fletch, the giant Massenomics Great Dane, licks his genitals with a lot of enthusiasm. And it makes really gross, unsettling sounds.
It's a really wet sound.
It's actually the sound that I, unfortunately, have to wake up to every morning, is the sound of him licking his butthole in my bed. And it's really fucking gross.
See, my dog licks himself too, but just, it's like the scale is 1/10. So, but like the noise level is 1/10, I think.
Well, speaking of dog dicks, welcome to the Massenomics podcast. We are about 12 hours after the Massenomics 2-year anniversary bash.
We did it.
We sure did it.
Oops, we did it again.
Yeah, that was the theme for this year.
I wish it would have.
We had some notes though for next year. Couple things we were talking about adding. One we might add, the other we won't, but enjoyed talking about. We need to have a bench off for sure.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Post pork sandwich macaroni and cheese.
Yes,
bench off.
yeah, you got to get that bloat.
Yeah.
And then obviously KY wrestling.
Yeah,
but obviously.
But when we all decided that we wanted to bench first so that we could really put our best foot forward under the bench, nobody wanted to hobble injured into the bench off because of some sort of KY wrestling accident.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But no, we had a good time last night down at the old Dakota Territory Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a perfect spot for us, I think. They're in the.
Is that because the building's not finished?
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's like they're in the process of putting their finishing touches on it, so it's kind of in more of a remodel stage right now, which actually works perfect for us.
Because we don't have to pay wedding reception prices.
Right. We don't have to pay the prices, and there's less things for us to wreck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't even think anything got wrecked, except for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was probably the extent of it, I think.
Most of the damage was done.
I think we had 40 pounds of pork there and about 40 people there, so
I
don't know what that comes out to per person.
Say half those people did not eat much either. So
I will admit that I was pretty excited about the drinking part, so I went light on the food side. I couldn't fill myself up too much there. I had to get to business.
I don't even know if we finished our kegs that we had there for us either.
Really?
They might have been.
It was still there when I left it too.
I'm guessing there wasn't a lot left in it, but
probably not. But people brought enough miscellaneous.
Jungle juice.
Yeah.
I did have some of that after a while because, for me, after you drink so many beers, it doesn't really taste very good, and it's like a taste thing where it's like,
I've had a lot of these.
Yeah.
This again.
Could I put something different flavor?
When you're our size, 3 beers is not. It's not a recipe for any sort of new experience.
That's true.
Like I am certain that I could probably drink 15 beers and learn to fly a plane.
Because you'd have the jitters would be out there.
Finally, I wouldn't be so
probably
nervous.
be better at it. Yeah. Be a little more willing to.
I'd be a little loose if I did crash.
And that's when you have the stick in your hands, you want to be loose.
Yeah.
You
Be loose on the throttle. Don't be afraid to give it the business.
Fly fast and loose.
But no, we had a good time.
Was there any other good highlights? Nothing too crazy. We played a lot of Hammerschlagen this year. Again.
Hammerschlagen.
We all had to wait while Ryan took the biggest shit.
Yeah, that's a good kind of a funny story, actually.
So, out of the blue, well, Tanner, tell me why you chose that moment that we needed to take the picture.
Because I asked Tommy, and I was like, hey, should we he brought his camera, and I was like, maybe we should take a picture because
People
it was at a point in the
start
time of night.
leaving.
Yeah, there's not gonna be any point where there's more people.
Yeah,
here. It's
we
only
were
gonna
done
get to be
eating,
less
so
and
yeah.
less and less
Yep.
people. So I was like, I'll catch a few people had already left, but I was like, we'll catch as many as possible. I probably should have said like 30 minutes earlier even, and it could have been a better looking picture yet. But that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so Tanner yells and says, "Everyone, get in the corner. We got to take a picture over here." So we all, what was there, maybe 40 of us ish?
Which that takes like
little bit
20
of
minutes to get everyone
Yeah.
to go over there.
Yeah, everyone to commit to getting out
Yeah,
of the seat.
yeah.
So we all get in the corner and say, "We good? We good?" Nope, we're missing Ryan. And then someone's like, "Well,
Sergeant
where's
Ryan.
he at?" And then it's like, "Oh, I think he's going to the bathroom." So you just assume like, "Oh yeah, he'll be done in a second." But yeah, he was in the bathroom
It was
for
a couple minutes, so
He-
our jokes about that he was pooping became the reality that he was definitely taking
Yeah,
a shit.
where it was like a long time.
And so there's 40 people waiting,
All
pretty house,
Yeah, and
tucked
right
away
next
into
to
a
each other.
corner, and everybody. So then I called Ryan, said, "Hey, listen, I don't know where you're at with this, but it's time for you to mop up and get upstairs right away because we are all here." And even then, I don't think because I talked to him after, he didn't actually realize. He thought that
we were like,
a
hey,
picture
we're
was
gonna
going
take a picture.
to be taken soon.
Yeah.
So he should maybe get it together, but he didn't know that we were actually already
Huddled in the
posing.
corner. Yeah.
Yeah, so he comes up the stairs and there's a group of 40-some people just
That knows
wondering how
he
your
just
poop
got
went.
done taking a crap.
That how did Tracy got the picture of him sauntering?
Yeah.
You know, I didn't look through all these
you should
yet.
look back through that. That'll be a good one.
I was trying to look through them actually right before we came here, and then the program was quitting on me. I was getting annoyed. So I'll just
Did you
have to
get
do-
some good pictures? do you think?
Yeah, when I was looking through the ones I had last night, yeah, there's some
I
good
liked-
pictures.
You had one. Shane was telling someone the story of the croissant. Anyone that follows us
He's,
at this
he's
point,
literally, he's talking to Matt, and I'm like, Tanner, I captured Shane literally describing the size of a croissant sandwich, and you just have Shane's hands like this.
like it's looking like over his shoulder.
Yeah,
at
and he
him
is
doing this.
sizing up a croissant sandwich. So, yeah, in case anyone's ever wondering, like, what size it is without buying one, we have that documented now.
So anyone that's followed us long enough knows about the whole Shane croissant sandwich thing. And if you don't, go back and listen to our episodes about with maybe our one with Dan Bell and the one prior to that.
And you can also watch the video with Shane being interviewed at the Arnold.
there you
too.
go on
It goes
YouTube.
into that a
Yeah,
little bit.
or even on I think Live Large Fitness.
Yeah.
Actually, I was telling Tanner,
Oh,
if
yeah,
you go,
we made the Live Large video.
if you go to their website, Live Large, and scroll down just like halfway down the page, it is a huge full screen photo of Shane's face because that is like the thumbnail image for their Eat Challenge video.
Yeah.
And it's Shane talking is the cover, so it's pretty funny that you run into him on there.
Do you think there's got to be, we have enough listeners on the podcast right now. There's people out there that just know who Big Shane is just from us talking
and
about
nothing
him
about
all
his
the-
illustrious
Yeah.
bodybuilding career.
IFBB Pro. Do you think the name tags were pretty necessary?
Yeah, that
for
was
last
actually
night?
a good icebreaker for some people because there are enough people there between members and spouses that it's hard to know everyone's name.
Even with just members, and the first fews we have, there's
Yeah.
a lot of people that have never seen.
Yeah,
other
because some people
before.
are on different
guy,
schedules.
yeah,
and
yeah.
I think I know probably 80-90% of the people, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's just a few here and there I didn't know. But
Oh, you go here?
Tanner ran off name tags, the hello, my name is, and everyone with the exception of like 5 people, it was just their name, but it said big in front of it. So you had Big Chuck, Big Larry,
Yeah.
Larry
Larry's
was Larry
an
Legend,
exception,
but yeah.
of course.
So it was cool. Everyone had name tags, and then if you
Thick
did
nicks. and then the blanks were still just
pre-printed big,
and then-
so people could fill in their own name. Then, yeah.
If you bring your wife, just write her name in.
After Big.
And we had a couple. Was it John's girlfriend was like, I wasn't too into the big thing.
It's like,
well,
oh, you have to
you're just-
embrace it.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's gonna have to
Like,
be a thing.
you see all these other women here, they have to do it too.
Yeah, you have no options.
The girls that go to the gym know though that's like a kind
That's the protocol.
That's when you've
it'd
made
be
it.
you'd be offended if no one made the courtesy to call
Look
you
at
big.
it this way: like if Big Leah went to the gym and someone went, "Hey, how's it going, little Leah?"
Yeah.
she'd be like, "The fuck did you just say?"
Yeah, right. Like,
Maybe not in so many words, but
Yeah, it'd be like if you go to school and someone starts calling you smart for going to school, you'd be offended if they called you stupid at that point.
That's right. That's right.
It's just like that.
But so and we had little Jack helping us with the name tags.
Yeah.
We also, I think,
Big Jack, actually.
Well, it's technically Big Jack, but Big Jack. Listen, Tanner.
Not a great name.
Not a great reader.
No.
I'm not questioning you specifically, but there's maybe a teacher that should have to answer some questions.
I guess so. Yeah, his kindergarten teacher. She's the one.
And his public speaking skills could use some improvement
That's
too. You
true
know,
too.
but we'll give him time.
I asked him how today I talked to him and asked him how the name how it went helping with the name tags, and he's like, it was really good. I said, I asked him if he could find all of them. He's like, sometimes they had to help me. I'm like, every time, maybe.
We also probably gave away more prizes than most powerlifting meets do too.
That's true.
For our 2-year party.
That's true.
A lot of barbecue sauce.
Yep. That was a good filler prize to get more people
Yeah.
to get a prize.
Yeah, barbecue sauces, Massenomics gear, apparel.
Dakota Territory Brewing gear.
Yeah,
too.
Dakota Territory Brewing gear, and the grand prize was a quarter of beef from Hart Scimitals,
And
which
Big Leah. Speaking of Big Leah.
yeah, Big Leo won it.
Yeah.
But that's
Bigger, Leah.
And then,
that's a good prize though.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that were
I
like,
was gunning for that one.
Yeah.
Also, were we not in that?
I don't
Tommy
know.
and I were sitting
oh
back
yeah,
going,
you
as owners,
yeah.
do we get
No,
in the drawing?
You guys were in the beef one. You guys weren't
weren't
in
gonna
the
win Massenomics.
right.
which makes sense.
So I had a separate group for the beef one of
Gotcha.
of just the members, and it
of
was
just
also
members that you thought were deserving of
no,
winning it.
it was over the last 12 months, however many
Oh, yeah, so you
months
said-
you've
yeah.
been a member. Like if you've been a member for 12 months, you had the most number of the
Gotcha.
highest number. If you've been a member for 6 months, you had half as much of a chance.
Gotcha.
Because I didn't really want to give like a several $100 prize to someone that joined last month, but I also
going
didn't
to
want
cancel next month.
Yeah, right. It'd be like that should go to someone
That's why we do keep this
but
private.
right, yeah, right. So, they still had a very slim chance. Like if you're the Golden State Warriors in the lottery or something, they
Yeah.
probably had some sort of chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good prize.
Yeah, for sure.
There a lot of gym members that didn't show up. They were still all in the hat. There's probably like 15 people that
there was a lot of
could've
people
won
that would have
something
won
that
if they
didn't
would have
win
been there. Yeah.
something. So, well,
Yeah.
a lot of those people in the grand prize one were people that have because it
already
was
won.
separate. I had a separate pile, like I said,
Yeah.
so it was people that already won something smaller.
Yeah.
So then it's like, oh, sorry, Larry, you already got like a bottle of barbecue sauce. Like Shane, you already got a hat. I know you'd much rather have this. But guess you'll have to settle for that stocking hat.
Someone's got to be the gatekeeper, I guess. But no, it was a solid, good time. But next year, bench off. I don't know why we wouldn't.
That's true.
Yeah.
And we were talking to Thick Nick. Was talking about this bench that has. Have you ever seen it? Has like a foot button that you hit, and then the pad drops down. So if you're by yourself,
That you can
it
save
drops
yourself.
the bench, and then so that changes the height, and then the spotter arms will catch the weight.
Oh.
That seems like something he would know about.
Yeah. And he's like, it was like $400, and I was like, that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And he's like, not that it sounds like it's probably worth $400,
Yeah.
but like, and then like the next thing he said right as I cut off about how crazy that was,
It's
was
like,
like,
oh, I'm
he was like,
making one.
I almost bought one last week.
Yeah. Then he decided he'd just make one instead.
Yeah. Oh well, he also has a gym membership.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a good time. What else did we have here to roll through? I don't think we
did-
have much else to recap from the party.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think
I'll
so.
be curious to see some of the pictures on those.
Yeah.
There'll
Yeah.
probably
The
be
pictures I
some
did
good
see were fun.
good ones. But are either of you familiar with Wim Hof at all? Do you know who
Yeah.
that is?
I saw Tim post
Yeah.
something about it, and I was
Yeah.
not familiar with it, so I did a little research, and since that time, I've seen it pop up in multiple other completely unrelated things.
The Iceman.
Yeah.
Do you know what his breathing drills are at all?
I don't really know.
I've actually got the app and everything on my phone.
I've done them.
Is it
for
like shallow breaths? Is that what it is, or is
No, it's kind of a whole breathing practice.
Yeah.
But some of the things, let's just say one of the tests that you'll do early on is 30 seconds of breathing,
30 breaths.
30 breaths,
Yeah.
and then what you do is you fully exhale and then hold your breath when you're completely empty.
Yeah.
See how long you can hold. Now, I have only played with it a couple times, but my wife did it regularly-ish. And it was crazy how like the first time she do the breath hold, she could last 25 seconds.
Yep.
By 3 or 4 days later, she was making it like well over 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
Well, because when you do it, you do 3 rounds of it.
uh-huh.
So the first round, like you said, you might last 25 seconds, and even you begin the second round immediately after the first round, and you'll go maybe twice as long just that second time, and then you do a third round after that, and almost like clockwork, you'll always make it longer
better.
in each subsequent round.
Okay, so I don't know a ton about this. Like the very limited amount I know about this is that this guy like used, correct me if I'm wrong, he used these breathing techniques to like bear crazy cold temperatures, like
Yep.
And
basically without
that's-
clothes on
That's
almost.
kind of another
That's like the separate,
discipline.
yeah.
Okay.
That's like
It's
the breathing
connected,
and the
but-
cold are separate. In my eyes, they're mostly like 2 different things, but he practices them both together.
Okay,
You
so
know,
then
and
what
the
is
breathing like augments his cold.
all right? So then like with the regular breathing part, then like what is the like benefit or like what like what's the thing of it?
Have you ever listened to him talk?
He sounds like a crazy person.
I don't.
I mean, I
like,
think
there's no
he's-
one that's more of a hippie than
Yeah.
Wim Hof.
Yeah.
Like, but he throws out terms that I'm like, I don't know if that's a real word or if that's like, because he'll
just make that up.
Yeah, and like a lot of the stuff he talks about is like you're changing your pH levels, like making yourself more basic and less acidic through the breathing, and that's something that I've seen that people have talked about that's not something your body. Like,
See, I didn't think like
your
because doesn't your body
can't
work very
actually-
hard to
yes,
keep that
yeah,
in
homeostasis,
Yeah.
like the norm, and like the amount that can diverge is actually
Very little.
like very little, or else because otherwise you would just be dead.
Yeah.
If you actually changed your
I became acidic, so my
Yeah.
my fucking organs all failed.
right. That's a big thing he talks about though, is that you're like manually adjusting your pH level, and then he also
No, there is a lot with the breathing stuff that goes along with like kind of scrubbing CO2 or like
Yeah,
you know, when you
yes.
do that breathing, when you load your breathing like that, is you are able to oxygenate the shit out of your blood,
Yeah.
basically, so that you aren't in as much need of oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, you know what I mean? So that's why you're able to hold your breath more the second time.
So
and the
like
third time.
these exercises, the point of them though is to just be able to hold your breath longer. Is that what it is?
No, it's kind
I
of
don't think
almost
that's
to
the end
reduce
point.
your dependence. You know what I mean? It's almost a way to increase your work capacity by taking control of your breath. So like
Okay.
one of the things that I've learned from some of that stuff is if I'm doing conditioning, really in any capacity, because I fucking suck at it, is what I'll do is, let's say for something as simple as the assault bike, where it's just torture, just sprint for a fucking minute, rest for a minute, do that 10 times, 10 times, something like that. But you go really, really, really hard. And what I normally do when I do something like that is I get on the bike and I just output. You know, I put in work, and then I breathe when I'm fucking underwater. Basically, it's like, oh fuck, you know, and I'm behind. And what one of the things I've seen is you get on the bike and you breathe as though you're already finished when you're fresh. So you get on there and you're like, you know, taking big, huge, deep breaths in the beginning when you don't need them, and then it does. And I've noticed very significantly that it staves off that that moment where I'm not in control of my breath, which is the way I spend most of my conditioning, is like wondering why I can't breathe and waiting around until I catch my breath. And so that part is interesting from like a conditioning standpoint. I
Yeah.
think there's skills to learn. The whole alkalinity acidity thing is just a fucking pisses me off every time I see it. Same thing with the alkaline water and all that mess.
Yeah,
It's like all that stuff's like, listen,
Well, I
I
think
don't
it's
wanna,
scientifically proven that your pH levels actually don't like.
No, yeah.
That's
No, it'd be
the-
such an easy thing to test too.
Yeah,
like-
yeah. But it does, when you do the drills, it does make you feel like a little lightheaded, and like you'll get like tingly. I noticed like in my feet and hands, or even like my arms, you'll get like weird tingly sensation. But what I think the reason that is, that's the breathing technique, is in through your nostrils and mouth both, and it's big deep breath, fill your when he explains it to people, he says, fill your stomach, fill your lungs, fill your head with air, fill your entire body with air on the in breath, and then your exhale through your mouth only, and as sharply, and it's like you're filling a balloon. It's like that's like a good cue is like you're pretending like you're filling a balloon that's not actually there. And if you just do that 30 times in a row, like without extreme concentration,
like,
you get lightheaded because you're like, oh, whoa, so it feels weird. So then when you are holding your breath for as long as you can after that, it is a kind of a weird sensation because you do get really lightheaded.
Also, to me, that feeling like you're holding your breath after exhaling, if I do it just now, I mean, we're talking 5 seconds before I panic and breathe in. Like, after you exhale is like I can't hold my breath at all after I'm out. So I think it's interesting. I do think there's some value, and I think there's some sort of, like, I do believe that there's probably some science will back up the breathing side of things. Some of the other stuff I don't care for, but it's kind of like anything else. It's never the be-all, end-all in one piece of information usually.
Right. The world record, I did look it up, for holding your breath underwater is like 22 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy that that's even possible?
I would have assumed you would have said like 7.
And what those because that's like a big thing. People
Like a contest, yeah.
training this, and what they do is they fill their cheeks like a squirrel with nuts in it with air.
Yeah.
And they're able to hold that there until they
like grab
need
a
it.
little breath later.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. And like by
weird.
blocking off their throat. Something I thought's tricky doing the technique though, because you're also supposed to be kind of relaxed when you're doing it, and when you're laying there and holding your breath, sometimes I'll be thinking about it and I'm like, did I just allow a little bit of air in through my nose? Am I cheating right now? Or like I can't even tell. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Like I forget I can't tell if I'm doing it or if I'm like, God, it's been too long. I must be letting breath in, letting some air in.
Yeah.
I would say to anybody that is interested in this though, is that their app is just Wim Hof method, and there's basically 3 pieces. There is kind of like there's the breathing on its own, there's the cold on its own, and then there's a commitment thing. I think that's basically
that's right.
a journal or whatever.
Yeah, that ties the whole rest of it together. You have to, in order for the other two to
but
work,
I
you have to be committed to the whole
app
system.
is $4 or something like that. And I talked to a few people I know who kind of live and die by by the Wim Hof stuff, or at least use it daily, the breathing stuff. And basically the recommendation I was given was just definitely get the app. It's probably like the best source for where you can get the videos, the instruction, and the progression, and you can go through that. So if this isn't something that interests you, for $4 you can get as deep into it as you probably want, So I'd say check it out.
He is a serious hippie though.
Oh fuck! And my deal is like, and because it became, after was it the book and the documentary that was like, he became fairly famous, kind of. But nobody taught the guy how to talk. So like on this thing, it's like, just don't even have Wim Hof talk. I think just have like some other instructor up there who maybe is a little more charismatic.
Yeah.
Like.
Because he does it like he's hypnotizing you almost, like the way he's talking when people are.
So it's like creepy, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a pretty gnarly accent.
Yeah.
So it's also,
what is his accent?
I don't even know. I think they're out of. I think he's maybe out of like. It could be like Sweden.
Yeah, that would seem. That's kind of what it sounds like to me, something like that. But yeah, I don't know. He's kind of. It is
one of those really, really white countries.
Yeah, definitely.
But.
The cold thing, I don't know as much about that.
The cold thing, I think, is actually probably the more interesting of the two.
And that's the beginner level of that is just doing it through cold showering cold.
Oh, is it?
Like
subjecting yourself to cold, basically.
Yeah. That's like in a nutshell, that's what it is subjecting yourself to more and more cold. Like the beginning is taking a hot shower or a warm shower like you normally would, and just at the end of it,
turning on the
going to a cold and getting used to
it. And it does roll back to where the breathing, it does end up tying into it a little bit, where you'll start same deal. You'll start breathing as though you would when you're in the panicked cold water, and you're gonna get yourself into that place already, and then you get into the ice water and you become calm.
Okay.
And so there is an interesting, and actually some of this ties in. One of the guys that runs Wim Hof's, some of his seminar stuff. What's his name? Casper's. Something or other. Van, it's too many letters. But he was working with Julian Pinot for a couple, 3 weeks when they were in Europe. Kind of piecing some of the nervous system stuff with Julian's training and kind of how it works with some of the Wim Hof stuff with the cold. So I'm actually seeing a lot of the breathing stuff now peppered in through my training stuff with Julian now that it's all hard for me to sort out because I can't breathe through my nose very well, and I'm always out of breath. So,
that's a big thing I've talked to Professor Shans about is just that anatomically, you should be breathing through your nose much more than people are, and people are mouth breathers.
But yeah, and I also think
gross mouth breather for sure.
But I also think this part of the country it's a little different because pretty soon here. A lot of people are going to have mild colds and stuff going on for months on end. It's just so hard to not
breathe through your nose. Go outside, breathe through your nose when it's 30 below zero with 60 below zero wind chill.
Right.
That'll fuck your whole world up.
Yeah, it sucks.
Just being there in
that
general.
Hurts.
Yeah. It does. It really does hurt.
And talking about sleeping, when you're sleeping, you should be, as you're trying to fall asleep, not breathing through your mouth and breathing through your nose. But sometimes I found if I think about that too much, I'll sit there and be trying to do it, and then I'll be gasping for air.
It's not enough air getting air. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, that was one of the training things I think that was through that I got. I think it was from Julian. Was the notes on it was breathe through your nose, and it's well, what if I can't breathe through your nose? Keep your fucking mouth closed and breathe through your fucking nose.
Yeah.
You'll either do it or you'll die.
Yeah.
Keep your mouth shut. You'll breathe. You'll be just fine. But for me, it's a panic.
But if you think about it, with that Wim Hof thing, you can literally go a minute or two without even breathing whatsoever.
At all.
And here you're breathing as much as you want. It just has to be through your nose, and you get that feeling I'm not getting enough air.
I'm
you're
dying as
you're
we
getting
speak.
continuous air. It's just coming through your nose instead of your mouth.
Wim Hof.
Yeah.
But yeah, they should have propped up somebody else. So on the app, there's videos of it's kind of a little video instruction of everything you have to do, and that was and it's him every time, and it's every time I see one, I'm God, they should have
found someone else.
Definitely found somebody else.
He's been on several podcasts.
That's what I've heard. I think Joe Rogan and
He was
stuff
on Joe
that.
Rogan. He was on another one that I listened to. Some of fitness, just a fitness one that I listened to too. So he's kind of must be making his rounds on that thing.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot more people, lifters, talking about his thing. So I don't know.
I'm trying to think of what the other. Speaking of though, I guess. Speaking of the app, it's a $4 or $5 app, right? Have we talked about buying apps on this podcast?
I don't think we've touched on that before.
It's something we probably talked about in private, but do you guys? I've only ever done this literally recently, the last 3 months. I don't think I've ever paid for an app.
I have very few that I've paid for.
And
on my
it's
phone.
always funny is how often do you spend $1 on literally nothing?
Oh, just the dumbest stuff in the world.
It's hard to find even anything that doesn't cost more.
Yeah,
more
how
than
often
that.
do you spend $9 on nothing? I spent $50 on 2 drinks in Las Vegas. Fucking
Yeah.
And I go to this app that has supposedly a wealth of information.
And will literally be in your
And
pocket
it's
with
$4,
you.
and I can have it forever because it'll transfer. You know what I mean? And for $4, and I was I go to it and it's $4. I was are you fucking kidding me?
Where's the free version?
Yeah.
Give me
Yeah,
an
right.
ad or two.
And then I started running into it with productivity stuff for the gym, video editing and photo editing and stuff like that. And if you're gonna do it for it's one thing to dick around and make a post on your Instagram that has a watermark on it, but for the business, it was I can't have like they purposely make the free ones look so shitty. But then I was like, wait, what are you doing, Tyler? It's $1. Like, it's $1. Like if the thing says if the watermark drives me nuts, and to remove the watermark permanently from this app is $1, and I was like, absolutely not. But once I open that floodgate now I'm like, because the apps are so much better when you pay for them. So now I'm just like looking through only paid apps, like what can I fucking buy now? And
The wallet is open.
But even if you buy 10 at $3 a piece, that's $30 that you spend.
Which is still like nothing.
And 10 $3 apps are probably there's probably a lot of usefulness in that. Like,
Oh yeah, $3 apps are already getting into that like higher quality.
yeah.
well, I got one app that I use for cutting some stuff into the like Instagram stories that cuts everything into the exact seamless time frame, and that was like a $9 app, which I think if you were to scale it out to vehicles, that's like the Ferrari.
Like $100,000 car.
That's like at least a $250,000 app.
Yeah.
And then, so the $1 must be like a Chevy Malibu commitment
Yeah.
or something. But yeah,
That might be the Buick LeSabre.
that was the deal. So I got to that. I
LeSabre.
saw that like $9 app, and I was like, but since I had already been in the habit of buying apps, my mindset had changed. So as soon as I see $9, I'm like, I bet this thing's fucking
A
awesome.
level of luxury I've never seen
I mean,
before.
I couldn't even imagine. And it actually isn't. I mean, it does that one thing that it says it's going to do, and it does that really well. And it does nothing else, though. You can't do any other things, but it does that one thing really well and easy. So I guess, but for $9, I kind of thought there'd be more features. Yeah. But I only got it for the one thing, so now I got that covered forever.
Yeah, it's
But-
the whole paradox of phone buying. It's like, oh, this phone's $900. Be like, yeah, that's what phones cost.
Yeah.
It's like,
A
would you like
$3
to
app,
would you
what
like
do
to
you got
install a $1 app? Like, can't swing that here. Like,
Yeah, it is. It is
I gotta buy a new phone every year. What's the like most expensive app you bought
well,
for your phone?
for my phone, I don't know if I have.
Oh, Final Cut Pro is the most expensive.
Well, that's for
yeah.
yeah. How much was that?
It's like a couple $100
Few $100
or something.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, I
$300,
pay for like my Adobe apps. Like those are $55 a month for all those.
Is the monthly deal like worth it on those?
See, I think it is. A lot of people love to complain. Well, anything in life, people love to complain about it, and people love to just crap on Adobe and all of that stuff. But my mentality is, if you are actually running a business, the fact that you can have pretty much all the tools to run your business for $55, if you complain about that, you are not running a business at all.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you're a hobbyist, yeah, okay, maybe it's expensive, but also a lot of people spend way more than $55 a month on hobbies.
Yeah,
For
So,
sure.
Yeah.
so even on that end of things, it's not that expensive either, and you always have
And
the
you
newest
have
one.
everything. What about buying? Where I see the comparisons is if you bought this year's everything, right?
Well, so this is what would happen though. Is like you'd buy this year's everything, and this year's everything was $3,000, and with the software updates, like you might be able to use that for, I don't know, 6-7 years maybe. But at that point, it doesn't work anymore, and then you're just going to drop $3,000 more. So yeah, I suppose over time, if you wanted to miss out on updates and stuff, yeah, you're probably saving some money. And back in the day, a lot of people wouldn't buy everything; they just get a few here and there. But it's, yeah, I don't know. People
Yeah.
like to complain, so I can't worry about that.
yeah.
I don't know, seeing things like on some of the software stuff I bought for the house. It's like they'll want like like $20 a month, and then I look at what I can buy it for, and I was like, there's no fucking way that I'm gonna get locked in monthly on this forever
Yeah,
for a goddamn word processor.
yeah.
know? But yeah, that Final Cut Pro is a hefty bite.
I think it's $300 or something, but it is a pretty
Works
yeah,
pretty
it's
well.
a pretty
Yeah.
pretty schnazzy program. I mean, there's major motion pictures that
Yeah,
get made on it.
movies
so
are literally made with it.
Yeah,
so it's,
so-
yeah, it's. I mean, it is the
you're only limited
one of
by
the tools
what
of
what you know how to do or don't know how to
pretty
do.
much. Yeah.
Basically, why our YouTube is so awesome.
Yep.
I saw that Kaylor Woolham has started his full YouTube channel now. Did you see that?
I haven't hopped on it yet. I saw he's been pushing that a little bit though.
Yeah, he's been moving it out there. I think I'm guessing he had a talk with Mark Bell when he was there to make sure he's getting out there a little further.
I don't really closely follow much of any YouTube channels, so.
I don't really either.
Do you guys have the YouTube app on your phone?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I was talking to, I can't even remember who I was talking to now, and they didn't have the YouTube app on their phone, and I was almost offended.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you even? What
Does
do
it
you?
come
What do you?
automatically
What do
on
you
your
do
phone,
with
or-
your phone?
I assume it comes automatically.
It seems like it should. If it doesn't,
It's
that's
on
just,
my first page, that's for sure. You
yeah.
know?
So I was blown away
So
that.
they like go to a web browser. And,
yeah, and then look at it on there.
Jesus.
I was amazed. I didn't know that.
How archaic.
Yeah. Well, it's like where do you save your subscriptions and everything in to keep check up, to update on things.
Yeah.
Speaking of YouTube, Stan Efferding's, have we talked about that? He's been rolling out his 10-minute walk.
I don't think we've talked about those at all.
Yeah, he's been. I just caught the one, but I'm just glad that he's doing
Something.
something again. Makes me wonder if the cooler version 3 is coming out soon.
It's getting ready to push something again.
But we're happy to have Big Stan out there making stuff happen.
Yeah, those are always enjoyable. And even this, what was it, a week ago or so, he was on the Powercast, and he is still one of the best guests on there always, because he's not, riding some crazy social media success and an expert all of a sudden. Like, he's been there, done that. So he is always one of my favorite people to listen to on there.
I think if I have to go back on all right, let's do this strength podcast guests. Who would be your one of some of your favorites? Stan Efferding would be one of my favorites. That's on anything ever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, listening
Yeah.
to it.
To
Oh
listen
yeah,
to
like
as
he
a
was
guest.
just on Mark Bell's, and he's gonna second part of that episode will come
Yeah.
out here, and I'm looking forward to that.
And I'm assuming he'll be on our podcast. Whenever he makes his way here.
Yeah,
Well, whenever we can fit him into our schedule. I think that's
true.
the
It's
problem.
more we're the ones holding it
about us.
back.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, it's on us.
Yeah,
What
he's
about
definitely
any
a
other
good
big
one.
ones for you, Tanner?
Ones that I have heard, or ones that I would.
Just ones that got people that you really like. Yeah, ones that you've heard.
Yeah, I like.
Where people can look for them as guests on other stuff.
That's tough. I like listening. I don't necessarily follow everything he does, but I like listening to Matt Wenning. Would be one
Yeah.
I enjoy hearing his perspective. And-
Pretty much like anybody that's been around a long time and kind of been through all of it and has had to really work at things and been like, oh yeah, my deadlift was stuck here for 5
Right.
years before I figured out how to move it. Those are the people that I always find way more entertaining as far as lifting goes to listen to.
And I don't think it's a matter of having to drink the Kool-Aid on necessarily every one of their opinions or their systems or processes, but when they have done that, what they say carries a lot more weight than versus people that haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else? So, God, there's on the spot. I can't really think of them, but I bet there's several other ones that I'm missing that are in that.
Well, if we would have prepared for this, literally at all.
With Juggernaut with Chad Wesley Smith and Max, what's his Ada. Yeah. They're both really good to listen to, and then the fact that they have their own podcast just makes it easier because they're the same thing, is that they have a lot of really in-depth experience coaching a wide variety of top-level people between Olympic lifting and powerlifting. And
I also really like Chad and Max because they will actually take a stance.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're kind of they'll roll out the fuck West Side stuff. And
or talk about how ridiculous things are.
They're not too worried about that. Mark Bell kind of seems like he has to toe a bit of a political line now with some of that stuff.
Yeah, about the
Just
hardest
because
stance
he's really
you see.
popular.
Yeah, about the hardest stance you see him take is hey, keto's really awesome, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah, basically everything he says, he caveats it with something like that.
Which I think is probably the way things are.
Yeah.
It's probably the right approach.
Yes,
But
moderation,
but
somewhere in the middle is usually.
Sometimes I'd like to see somebody dig themselves a hole.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Take
a really
stance,
hard line stand.
take a really hard
Well, I've
line.
noticed that, someone does do that a little bit. I noticed Donnie Thompson kind of has some more stuff like that.
Donnie Thompson is not.
He's been
afraid
putting
to
some stuff
put-
out there
he does.
I've been doing this first, and everyone can I think he even recently had some posts anyone can get some tests on their hands and then become a social media star. And he's but I've been doing this through years of hard work and all this, and so he is kind of firing shots at people a little
Donnie
bit.
will fire shots all day long.
and he fires shots you have to read through his the
like the comments
Yeah,
to figure out where he was going
or,
with it.
or even like his subcontext, or like you have to look beyond his message. A lot of times, if you were just maybe someone that's kind of into lifting or something, and you read his post, you'd take it at face value, but he actually means the opposite. A lot of times he's being facetious, or like he's throwing a curveball in there, and then you read the comments, and a lot of people aren't getting that.
Yes,
and then he'll comment back at them all the time.
Well, even today, I think it was this morning he had one, and it was like, if you're well liked in your field, chances are you're not doing very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's one way of whether that's true or not.
I was thinking
but
about that too. I was wondering if that's true or not, and it's probably sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't true.
Yeah.
I don't
Yep.
because there's probably in certain fields you have to be liked in order to be successful too.
Maybe not universally, but
Yeah.
at least it needs
everyone
to be.
It helps.
you,
It helps to not have everyone hate you when
Yeah.
it comes to be doing it. Yeah.
Speaking of Stan Efferding, he lost his world record then here this weekend to Larry Wheels in the 275 raw with knee sleeves class.
Yep.
Larry beat it by 49 pounds.
Oh, it was that much?
Yep. So what did he bench? I
think it was 610. Yeah, was it like a 8? We did just have the numbers up here. I think it was like an 810 squat, like a 610 bench, and an 880 deadlift.
So he's pretty strong.
Yeah, he's getting strong. Well, and I think
What was his squat again?
I think it was like 810 here. I'll have it up
And
here.
what was his injury like
His
a couple
quad.
months ago, right?
Like that was at the U.S. Open.
And was that
when he was squatting?
When was that? This summer?
I think that was it
Probably,
the spring?
Like
yeah.
a few months
Yeah.
ago?
Was it Easter weekend?
It might have been
Was it
something
so
like
maybe
that.
6
April,
months?
yeah.
Yeah, it was 810 squat, 610 bench, 855 deadlift. And also the really crazy thing about him is the fact that it says here his deadlift, I think it might have been he didn't deadlift at the US Open. Either way, the last deadlift he had in a meet was like 780 or something. So he's put like 80 pounds on his deadlift in less than a year, which when you're already kind of a top level person to be getting
So he jumped
improvements
up a weight
like
class.
that. Yeah, jumping up a weight class I think made a big deal. So like here the thought is like that's Larry at 275 and he's the best, strongest he's ever been. Will there be like a 308-pound Larry or 303, whatever that class is up there? Because I don't know I don't think he would ever get fat. I think he just keep getting more muscular.
That's what I wondered. Is there ever a point where he would get fat?
I just don't think like his body allows that. I just think it sees whatever food enters his body and it says, "Yep, this is muscle now."
Yeah.
And I just think he's going to keep getting bigger and bigger.
That's what I would like to see. It'll just be a matter of battling injuries at that point, probably because the weights get heavier and heavier all the time.
That squat that he fell on looked like that was
Really bad, yeah.
You know what I mean, like when you're flat out falling.
And he's already recovered and better since then. That didn't slow him down for very long.
I was kind of in my head, the timeline I was thinking was that it might be a year before we see Larry Williams like at that level, let alone better.
And he's like 24 or something.
Or that shit hurts my feelings. And that's what was interesting. When we were talking about Born Strong, was that last week? The documentary, and they were like, we don't ever have to worry about some young 20-year-old, 18 or 20-year-old coming in. You're just not going to be that strong. But Larry Williams is the exception. He's just like came in at 20, 21, 22. It's just this fucking freak.
Did you guys see the post he had where he...
It was like, was it like
side
16,
poses,
like 19, 20, 21, 22?
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, like, there was like a year in there where you gained like maybe 100 pounds and none of it was fat.
That was a big year.
yeah.
He is natural though, right?
Naturally.
That's a hard no.
Yeah. Naturally talented.
He pretty well advertises his.
Yeah, no, he has. He has posts where he'll actually spell out exactly what he takes, and
he's actually
He's
advertising
open
for
about it.
trying to get people to purchase their steroids from the place that he purchases his steroids.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure all the
that works.
Yeah, all the legalities.
It seems like
of that.
it shouldn't, but
Like, what if you're online and like I love meth. I take meth all the time. Here's the exact amount of meth I take, and here's the person I buy it from. Like, here's my discount code. You can get 10% off meth if you buy it from this guy. Like, wouldn't the police be like, "Wait a minute"?
And we're like, if you're Larry, you're like, hey, I'm not the one selling the meth. Just talk about the meth. It is interesting though. I was listening to a podcast. Someone was talking about Larry Wheels, and they said that he's a person that has kind of all of it. Where like he is genetically very on his own, very able to, just be strong, get strong, build muscle, stay lean. But they said part of the whole package is
You could probably jump high.
he could probably jump, yeah.
Probably
I have
don't.
no doubt he could jump high if he wanted
Yeah.
to.
But I think they say like, what the genetics versus nutrition versus working versus drugs, and it's like, well, his genetics though overreach every one of those things. Like his work he's able to put in so much work because genetically he's a freak.
Yeah.
I think he adapts as well to the drugs. Like that's another genetic component. I mean, the drugs are what they are on their own. You could take the same things that Larry takes and
Yeah.
train as hard as Larry trains,
Yeah.
and you are not going to look like Larry.
Right.
And you are not going to,
Yep.
you're not going to bench
6'10".
fucking
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not the way it happens. So I think, he's just really, really gifted. And so when people do throw the drugs thing back at him, it's like, listen, Larry Wheels off drugs would fucking smash
For sure.
almost anybody who would call him out for
Yeah.
it. As far as in the strength,
We'll never know though because he also said he started taking them at
was
he was
like
like
16,
17 years
yeah.
old.
like 16,
Yeah.
15.
And
Which
from
also, you
what I
gotta
know
assume,
about
like-
it, that's not a safe practice.
is
You wouldn't think,
Like-
no.
Not recommended.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just...
Like imagine yourself at like 17 years old, how much natural changing your body
And
is
then you're
like,
just going to fuck and jack it all.
Well, plus, like when people are 17, like you don't know anything about anything at
Oh
that
my
point.
God,
So like to
no.
be like in charge, like to be administering yourself with like hormones that can like totally
Yeah.
alter your body.
And I would assume then at 17 also with all the hormones you already had, that at what point is your dick just leading you around all day then? At that point, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that would be no bueno. But Larry doesn't have to worry about that, old Larry Williams.
No. That last thing you guys were just talking about, though, that we were all talking about together, reminded me of a really important question that I've been meaning to ask you guys for days. It's been on my mind for days now. Do you guys think that hydration is important? Honestly, this time, do you think it's important?
It's funny that you mentioned that, Tanner, because I've been thinking a lot about the importance of hydration myself lately. It seems like it might be kind of a big deal.
I think you two are onto something. As you two were just talking, I did a quick search on Ask Jeeves. Turns out 80% of the human brain is made up of water, and good hydration can actually help reduce cavities and tooth decay, and everyone loves a clean mouth.
I actually doubt the truthfulness of that statement.
No, Ask
that's
Jeeves said it's
astonishing.
true, so
Yeah, that's on
it was
Jeeves.
the first thing that came up there.
That is pretty astonishing.
It really is, Tyler. But how are we supposed to stay hydrated all the time? What could we possibly put our water in that would keep it cold, be portable enough for our busy schedules, and look really, really stylish all at the same time?
Well, I happen to have this 32-ounce Superman cup.
Did you find that in a garbage can?
I got it from a
Might as
movie
well.
theater during the Man of Steel movie when it came out. I got many of these. These are my big cups. So anyway, I think that would probably be a pretty good vessel for some.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. I can't let you go down that road anymore,
We lose
Tyler.
the style points.
Yeah, you need to be getting a Flex Flask by Massenomics.
What the heck is the Flex Flask by Massenomics?
It's this amazing liquid container that holds 41 ounces of anything you choose. It's made from double wall stainless steel. It's this very one right here in my hand, Tyler.
Oh, shit.
And it helps keep your drinks colder
Right
longer.
under our nose the whole time.
Yeah, and it also has a wide mouth lid for easy drinking.
I really wish that we would have maybe invented or monetized these
Yeah.
things. That would have been.
That all sounds really, really, really good, actually. But I'm worried. It probably doesn't come in any cool designs or any different color options to match my personal taste. Oh, wait.
Look at that.
Yeah. It does come in a couple different options, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I just checked on Massenomics.com, and there's 3 different Flex Flask designs, and each one really takes my breath away. And they come in your choice, a brilliant white or a stealthy matte black.
Well, fuck it. I'm convinced. I'm going to go to Massenomics.com right now and buy myself one.
You better hurry, Tanner, Or I might go there and buy up all the sweet Superman cups instead. Oh, guys, we are super good at advertising.
Yeah. So that was just a normal conversation we
Those
had.
are things that we just say. It's no big deal. Yeah, you guys didn't even realize you were getting pitched.
Yeah, that was an
Probably.
ad. That's how natural.
How good we've gotten.
Yeah, you're in the Matrix.
Yeah. You took the blue pill.
Yeah, now you know. Some things you cannot unlearn.
So something I had mentioned this to Tommy before that I was wanting to add in. I don't always have the Tanner sack anymore because it just sometimes I don't always have something to put in my sack. But something I thought we could do a quick thing maybe in most episodes is just a quick Massenomics mentions, which could be one thing from each of us. We're always on Instagram, social media, checking stuff out, and just like one either person or bit of content or something that we've seen. You know, it could be a podcast. We always recommend a lot of podcasts, but something we've come across that we think our listeners might find valuable, because I know that this could be a valuable thing for our listeners, because just this at the party last night, Big Kevin, gym member, said, "Hey, I listened to your guys' episode where you're talking about all the podcasts you listen to. What were they? S-Town, Mike Rose podcast, and the history one.
Yep.
And he's like, I've listened to all of. I listened
He
to all of
goes,
those.
I
because
listen
you
to
guys-
Massenomics for the podcast recommendations.
It's like saying like I go eat at McDonald's because they recommend really good other restaurants for me to go to.
Yeah, they direct me to something better and more entertaining.
But so I did have something I've seen. It's not a brand new piece of content, but I hadn't been mentioned. Is Matt from Pioneer? He on his YouTube channel, might be able to find it some other places. I know there's shorter versions of it on Instagram, but he reviewed all of the different, maybe not all, but most of the different companies that manufacture belts, and he literally sliced them open. There's a video for each one. Probably went through like 10 different brands.
Yeah.
He cut them all open and talked about what they're made out of and basically whether they're shit or good. And he was very honest, I thought.
Yep.
Like the ones that he
Some
thought
of them
were
were
good.
really good.
Yeah, like Best Belts.
Yeah,
He looked at it, he's like, this is really as good as my belt. Honestly, you know, he's like, I'm still going to tell you to buy mine over theirs, but this is probably, you know, they're doing the right things right.
And we finally figured out like why some of our Inzer belts are always like the way they
way
are.
yeah.
Like why is mine always hard and not
learn
like
a
everyone
lot.
else's?
If you watch those, you will know way more about belts than before. And be like, I kind of get why the strong belt is like that and why the Inzer belt
and like
is the
you
way it
know
is.
kind of subconsciously, if you pay any attention, that some of these belts, even though they are all supposedly the same size and everything, there's something different about them, and you can't quite put your finger on it. You don't know why, but he does a really good job.
Yeah, I would say if you are thinking at all about buying any kind of powerlifting belt,
The most comprehensive review.
Yes, watch
of,
those. It maybe take you 30 minutes or something, and by the end of that, you will certainly have opinion of which and he talks about price and everything. Really unbiased too, I thought,
Yeah,
for someone that's one of the 10.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
think it's a really good resource for anyone interested in buying. And we're lucky enough that we have a gym where there's a lot of different belts,
You can test,
styles,
check,
sizes, thicknesses, colors. Like we can get a lot of hands-on experience. But yeah, if you're just sitting at home and you maybe know one or two other people that have a belt, it is a really good tool to help narrow that down for you.
Yeah, for sure. So that was my mention.
I've been recommending obviously the Pioneer stuff ever since I got my super dope plain white one. Because I really really wanted the custom deal, and I was like, I just don't have the money right now. But I looked, I was like, shit, like that belt I got was like $90 by the time it showed.
Yeah,
up.
if you go not custom, they're super
White,
affordable.
really
but still
cheap
like
and
white
fast, too.
leather, black suede on the inside, still looks fucking clean. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a dope looking belt.
Yeah.
$90, good for life, you know.
Yep.
Now I need two. That's the tricky part now. I think that's how it works. It's like,
Yeah.
now I need a 13
Yeah.
prong, and then I need a 13 lever, and
Yeah.
one of those should be custom,
Or all of them.
or all of them.
Yeah, why limit yourself?
Yeah, I need to do that sometime, but I think that could be a gym business expense, right?
There you go. Absolutely.
I don't see any reason why it couldn't be.
Well, you need it to do your job safely, so.
Yeah, I can't be getting hurt demonstrating air squats without a belt. Oh shit! Also, our nose torque at the gym's getting a little little dull.
Yeah.
Did you try both bottles?
All three.
Okay.
The one with the black lid's still hanging in there. Still got a little bite.
Yeah.
I had Megan now has become like fully wants nose torque anytime she's lifting anything heavy now.
It is a fun experience. It's hard to argue against that.
Clears the old sinuses.
Yeah. Something else I just thought of kind of related to all that. At the time that this comes out, check out our recent article that came out. If you're interested if you've got a power lifter in your life that you're interested in getting them a Christmas gift at all, we've got an article out there with about 15 different pretty good suggestions. Nose torque being on the list, Pioneer belts being on the list, and a bevy of other items that in all price ranges, probably as cheap as about $10 and as expensive as $500.
Yeah,
And I think we'll have the same article for the CrossFit stuff should be up by the time you're hearing this too. So
I think a lot of times people think people that go to the gym, like, I have no clue what to get them or they don't want anything, but not true. You just got to know what to get them.
Yep.
And we put in the work.
Yep.
definitely, we put in all the legwork.
Yep.
Hours.
You guys get to
I don't know
reap the
how many
benefits
man
now.
hours of research went into that thing, but we did it, and you guys
Multiple man hours.
So check that out on the website.
Speaking of shit that you should also buy for people for Christmas, you should definitely go to Massenomics.com and buy a bunch of stuff from our store. Hats, shirts, anything new other than the Flex Flask, the world famous Flex Flask.
Flex Flask. Stocking hats are restocked, and crew neck sweatshirts are restocked. So if you're into more of a cold weather thing right now, we got something.
keep that
maybe to
loved
cover
one
that.
warm
Yeah.
this
We'll
holiday
have
season.
the Massenomics Yeezys for sale pretty soon.
So we've got
Kanye
those,
was a hard sell on
We've
that.
got those blankets that have like armholes in them.
The Snuggie.
Yeah, like a Snuggie. Yeah,
we got a collaboration in the
holiday.
works there.
Yeah.
I could be into that. Anyway, no, we're gonna probably wrap up. Do we have anything else we got to pin today? We've
I don't think so.
hustled the Flex Flask pretty hard. But no, go to Massenomics.com, buy some shirts, hats, flasks, banners. If you send us a very specific email, maybe we'll sell you some of our socks, used sweaty socks, PR socks. That comes at a premium, $700 a pair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you won't know which of the three of us socks it is.
Surprise! It's
It
like,
could maybe be one of each even.
I mean, you'll know as soon as you open it, but you won't know before it arrives. While you're there, make sure you go and subscribe to our email newsletter at the bottom of the page.
Do that.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Would be nice.
We keep forgetting about that part.
Yeah, that's a good valuable
It's actually
tool for us.
Yeah, we actually give you guys. We'll put out coupons and promo codes through that too. So it's good to keep an eye out. Make sure you follow. Go to youtube.com/Massenomics and subscribe to our page. Do we have anything new on the YouTubes? We've been other than the weekly
Podcasts, which are up to
about it
date
for now.
again.
Yeah.
So,
Are they? Did the other one finally go through?
Yep. YouTube wasn't liking episode number 84 for
Yeah,
some reason.
we
So,
made
the
it
man was trying to keep
but I
us
got
down,
about
but
4 or 5 different messages that by the time Tuesday or Wednesday rolled around, that like, hey, where's
wrong
the
with
there's no YouTube video. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Which is
someone's
weird because
actually
normally
wanting to
we get
watch it.
4 or 5 people
Viewing
watching it.
So I guess every one of them messaged me and was
felt
like,
so
hey,
down.
they're that diehard fans. Yeah.
So I guess we can't get rid of that because those 6 people really like. One person even said, I listened to it in audio, but it was the one where we had all the Flex Flasks here, where we
so then
debuted
they
them. And they're like,
couldn't see
I couldn't see them. I'm gonna rewatch it with the video because I want us to check those out.
Nice.
I mean, there is a website.
Yeah.
But anyway. So what else? We covered YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, like the Facebook page, tell all your friends about the podcast. It seems to be the only way that it's working, right? Podcast
seems to be working.
blowing up.
We're gonna hit a new PR this month again for subscribers, listeners. So
That'll be great. We'll be coming for the title pretty soon. So that takes us back to just Instagram now, right?
Yeah.
So
the Grams.
I am Tyler. You can find me on Instagram at Tyler F. Stone. That's Tyler EFFIN Stone.
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
And Tanner.
the Massenomics Instagram page at Massenomics.
Right on. Well, that'll do it for us today. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
You just heard the
and stay
Massenomics
strong.
podcast. With your ears, you're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.